He goes into the NFL with something to prove. You see Earl Campbell here. You're going to see that same style. There's Isaiah Robertson. You see the same stuff. Why they call him Little Earl, the way he just stampedes defenders. There's Dave Elmendorf. Or Moran.
Good job, Mel.
I mean, you're looking at a back who can break tackles, has incredible quickness, and has that ability that I think when you talk about a 234-pounder, he can run away from people in the secondary. And that's the difference. I think when you look at Ricky Williams, you're looking at a complete football player. You see the speed here with the pads on. I don't care how much you want his 40 time is. With the pads on, and there he is wearing number 11. What's number 34, then the number 37, memory of Doak Walker. And here he is catching the football out of the backfield, then making people miss in the open field. Combination of speed and power. Here against A&M, Joe, he breaks the record. Another tremendous run. Tackle break, speed, turns it on. Defensive back had the angle. He still gets it in the end zone. This is a tremendous football player. And as I said, Chris, now you get him, you're the Saints. You get Ricky Williams with an attitude to say, hey, take another running back ahead of me. Let me drop down to 5. I'm going to prove everybody wrong.
First thing about attitude. If you're wondering if the Saints play the Colts this year, they do not. So they'll have to wait till at least another season. Number 2 about attitude. The relationship between now the late Doak Walker and Ricky Williams was legitimate and heartfelt, and I think that speaks volumes about the young man. I mean, he really developed a kinship with Doak Walker the last couple of years. I think that tells you more about the guy. But Mike Ditka already summed that up himself. Let's go down to New Orleans and join Ed Werder with the coach.
I'm here with Coach Mike Ditka, who just lit up his celebratory cigar, and it looks like you may be smoking that for some time.
This could last 3 or 4 weeks.
What was it like going through that draft, wondering if the Colts were, when they wouldn't make the trade with you, whether they were going to take the player you wanted?
Well, we really thought they were, and you know, we tried with everybody. Bill has been on the phone for a week, and actually very much this morning, and we thought maybe we could get something done. I mean, I thought that the offer we made was beyond reason, but I guess other people have their own feelings about that. I believe things are supposed to happen for reasons, and I think he's supposed to come here. I mean, I really believe that. I love the kid. I love everything about him. I watched every player, and there's a lot of great football players in this draft. And we would have been happy with some other ones, but I tell you what, he's what we need. We really need this kid, and I think he's going to show everybody, too, that he is the best college football player coming out. I don't care about the other guys.
Think he might come in a little bit angry, given that Edgerrin James went ahead of him?
No, I don't think Ricky's that kind of kid. I really don't. I don't think he worries about that. I think he just knows he's got a job to do. He's going to come in and do it to the best of his ability, and we're going to become a much better football team because of him.
Beyond what he does on the football field for you, does he give you an identity that you sorely lack?
Well, he gives us what Walter Payton gave us in Chicago. He gave us what Walter Payton did, you know, in Chicago. I mean, you got a great running back, you give him the ball, it makes your offense better, it makes your passing game better, hopefully, and it makes your defense better because they're not on the field as much. And if they want to put 8 or 9 men up front to stop them, we'll find a way to combat that because we think we can. And he's also a pretty good receiver now when you take him out of the backfield, but I don't think that's what you want to do with him too much.
Well, you have no more picks now. You look like you're dressed for an evening out. What will you do with the rest of the day?
Gone golfing. You want me to sing?
If you'd like. What,
on a shady Sunday day, or Saturday, whatever it is.
What was the reaction in your room when James was passed and you knew you had the deal in place with the Redskins?
It was pretty calm except for me and Danny and Tom and Bill and everybody else, because he's the player, you know. I guess maybe you make a mistake when you make a commitment like I made early, and I said this, I'd give up my draft for him and this and that, but I would, and I meant it. I wasn't kidding. I don't believe in playing the games that some of these teams play. I mean, everything is so much intrigue, it kind of tickles me to death. I mean, if every people were that smart, what the hell, they ought to know who they want.
Okay, Mike Ditka gets the only player he wants and the rest of the day off. Boomer, back to you.
All right, Ed and Coach, thank you. You know what I love? There are 30 other coaches and GMs, et cetera, that are you know, sweating this thing out for 2 days. And Mike is now going to work on his handicap for the weekend. I think it's great. Here is the trade, as we spoke to you before, to swap, and Washington, remember, only drops down 7 slots now. It's not like they dropped out of the first round. So they swap first-round picks, and then Washington gets a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, and a 7 this year, and a 1 and a 3 in the year 2000. Y2K, if everything works. So that's what Washington gets out of it. And the Saints get their guy, and the coach goes golfing. Again, Mel, I want to ask, is this too steep a price, or if a guy is going to be this good Do you agree with what Mike did? Or do you agree with Washington? Who got the better of
I think
this?
it's a lot to give up. I really do. Like I said, Ricky Williams was the #1 player in the draft. The only problem is he dropped to 5, and to go up to 5 to get the #1 player, you know, if you're talking about a Saint team that was 1 player away, maybe you would agree. I still think they have to get that quarterback. Billy Joe Hobart off the injury. Billy Joe Tolliver, a career backup. They need the quarterback to get the job done. And I think when you look at it from the Redskin perspective, a lot of needs. They need those hole fillers. I've always been an advocate of moving down. Now they're set for next year's draft. They can utilize that 12th pick to help out the offensive line. But they do lose out on Champ Bailey and Chris McAllister, who would have been tremendous additions to that Redskin secondary.
Heisman Trophy winners who are running backs in the NFL. Some of them have made their mark for all time. A guy named Barry Sanders, who was drafted 10 years ago in the #3 slot. Tony Dorsett, Hall of Fame. Marcus Allen will be Hall of Fame. The Juice, Earl Campbell, Herschel Walker. These are some of the Heisman trophies who have really made their mark. Now, of course, it's not 100%. It's not even 90%. But if Little Earl can become Big Earl, Mike Ditka will have a deal well worth it. We'll be back with St. Louis on the clock.
You've heard about an amazing new place to live. A new way to live. Remarkably, it's all true. With such excitement in the air, why not discover Anthem for yourself?
Don't miss the latest hits on Cox Pay-Per-View. Urban legend is that a group of college students will die. Are failing grades the reason for a dead man on campus? The stakes are high for Matt Damon in Rounders. James Woods faces an immortal opponent in Vampires. For laughs, action, and adventure, look no further than your own home theater. It's all here on Cox Pay-Per-View.
Tonight on ESPN, National Hockey Night, Baseball Tonight, and Sports Center. On ESPN2, the 99 NFL Draft, followed by X in Concert and NHL Tonight. And on ESPN Classic, Behind the Fights and College Basketball Classics. Do you have all the ESPN networks?
The St. Louis Rams, who have been a busy week and a major factor in this draft before they even stepped up to the plate, which they are on the clock right now, by making a trade 2 days ago for Marshall Faulk, get a running back that they covet, get a running back who was a former #2 draft pick in the entire draft, in exchange for a high 2, and a 5. So the Rams are on the clock, who now have a choice in either defensive back, the Deion Sanders, if you will, Champ Bailey, or Chris McAllister, if you will, some compare him to Ronnie Lott. That's coming up. Ricky Williams, though, has a home, and his home right now is with Mike Tirico. Michael?
All right, Chris, thank you. Ricky, I was watching you as you were standing backstage. In 10 minutes, you went from being passed over for another running back to being traded for, and in return, the other team got 7 future players.
Right.
What was your range of emotions in those 10 minutes?
Well, I think I expected Indy to take me because in talking to them, they sounded very interesting. So I was kind of surprised that they passed on me, but excited I'm going somewhere where I'm really wanted.
Were you mad?
Mad? No, I wasn't mad at all.
When you look ahead now, do you have something to prove to people because you were the second back taken in this draft?
I don't think so. I'm just going to go out there and play football the way I always do. I'm not worried about proving anything to anyone.
Some people talked about some things that have gone on since the Heisman period in the banquet circuit and your weight. Did you think that showed people that you weren't disciplined enough to do what you needed to do to be ready for the most important day of your professional life, which is up to now, today?
Well, I'm sure they could have taken it that way, but I know what I can do, and I've done it for 4 years, so hopefully I can keep on doing it.
Signability. Some people thought that may be a question. Your agent, Master P, who is a multi-millionaire and a very successful businessman, but not experienced in the world of football and negotiating. Do you think that was something seen by some people as a negative?
I don't know. I'm sure it could have been, but it's their first contract. We'll see how that goes, and in the future they won't have this problem.
I don't know if you got a chance to see Coach Ditka. big Hawaiian shirt, huge cigar. He's going off to celebrate because he's done for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
He said he wanted you, and he got you. What does that make you feel like?
Feels great. I was down there last week, and they were talking about